Yeah.
Oh, hey guys, we're live here. Let's go into our intro and we'll be right back. Hey, welcome to another episode of Reels and Heels. Today, Willow decided that she wanted to spend time with the hubby, so she's taking the day off. But we have our newest team member, which you guys saw last week and in previous episodes. Omar, how you doing?
Hey guys, how's it going?
All right. So we're proud to have you on our team, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. But our special guest is the promoter, organizer, Anthony from Fantasm Orlando. Anthony, how you doing?
Very well. How are you guys?
We're good. We're good. So we know that you're at a show, so we'll not keep you too long. But so Phantasm Orlando is a horror convention and a haunt, which is
Yes.
Quite interesting. So let's go way back. When did the whole horror thing start for you?
Well, when I was younger, I was a big superhero fan. I was big into Batman, so I mean, it kind of correlates there a little bit. And then when I got a little bit older, I really got into like Friday the 13th and things like that. I was a big Jason fan, much to my mother's, chagrin. She didn't care for that too much. She was never into the blood and the gore and the slashers. But I really got into it a lot. And then I always used to watch Creature Feature on Saturdays, and I was a big Godzilla fan. And when I was younger, if it wasn't Godzilla on it, I wouldn't necessarily want to watch it so much, like Frankenstein and Dracula. I'm like, that's going off. But I grew to appreciate that a little bit more in my teens, and I've always liked it. It's an interesting genre because, like sci-fi and everything else, you find a little community. You feel connected to other people that like it and stuff. So I've always liked it.
Yeah, that is something. The horror community, out of all, we have big shows like MegaCon, for comic books and stuff like that. But the horror community is different than the comic community. I want to say that I don't know. I may get some hate, but I think the horror community is more tighter.
Yeah, it's not as mainstream, and by mainstream I mean you don't see it in the normal news cycles, like when a comic book hero comes out or a comic book movie comes out. They don't like talk about it on the news or stuff like that. There's not a lot of actors that get super famous in it that are known for other things, like Hugh Jackman is for Wolverine or something like that, or Gal Gadot is for Wonder Woman now. They tend to stay a little bit off the radar a little bit. Not saying that there isn't big people like Jamie Lee Curtis's and stuff like that, but it's different. It doesn't get its time in the limelight like, say, superheroes or some sci-fi does.
Yeah,
Like, it still feels very personal.
Yes.
It still feels like you're still going to a small show versus some of these comic conventions are so huge. Like, just stepping into the lobby of like a Dragon Con is so overwhelming.
Well, that's kind of some of it. Like with superhero movies, like if you go to a superhero convention, because it's more out there and talked about and promoted and stuff like that, more people seem to know about it. And then when you have a horror show, you feel more connected to it because this is our thing. Not everybody cares about this as much as we do. So, it makes it tighter, like you said, or at least seem that way.
Right. And I know that, Florida has Spooky, which is like the biggest and, for the longest time was the only really like horror convention here. Have you been to any of the horror conventions outside of Florida?
Outside of Florida? No, I moved to Tennessee for a couple years, and there was one there, and I can't remember its name, but I worked so much that I never got to it. I lived in Cookeville, and I believe it was in Chattanooga, I believe. I could be wrong because I never went to it, but I never went to another one outside of there. I have been to one chiller in New Jersey in 2003, and that was a fun show.
Yeah, out in the horror convention world, I mean, there's Chiller. I don't even know if Walker Stalker's around with all the stuff that they had going on with them. Day of the Dead, I believe, is another convention, which they have one in Vegas now, which I guess did very well. And then the Horror Hound and Monster Party, I think is the other one.
Yeah, I think that's this weekend, I believe.
And that's in Carolina, right? I think it's in North Carolina.
Yeah, I've never been to one outside of Florida. I've lived in Florida since 1981, other than like 3 years when I moved to Tennessee. So I've been here most of my adult life. Moved here when I was 7.
So is this your first go around in the convention circuit, or have you ran other shows before?
I've never run another show before. This is the first time as an owner and promoter. I've been going to conventions since probably 87. I used to go to some of the Volcon, old Tampa Star Trek conventions when I was younger. And then I started going to the show I'm at now, which is called Necronomicon. And it's a horror, less horror, but more like Cthulhu type stuff. A
lot of authors are at that show.
Yeah, it's very literary, Star Trek, Doctor Who. It's a smaller show. It got pretty big probably around 2004, 2005 was its peak, and then it got a little bit smaller. It's a tighter knit family show. It's a nonprofit sci-fi club that owns it and runs it. They do charities with kids and canines and things like that. So it's nonprofit, but it's a nice show. That's
really cool. So how long ago did you start thinking, hey, I want to do a show?
About 2017 or 18. I was like, like you said, there wasn't anything else going here besides Spooky. And I had been to Spooky probably 5 times and then, hadn't gone back in quite a while. And then I decided to take a shot. Let's take a shot and try to build something, try to have another option.
Yeah. So what were some of the obstacles that you had to go through to, start up your own show?
Obstacles wise, just, obviously there's a lot of departments that go into running a show like this. You got to find your venue, you got to find places that'll let you do it. Things like that. Put your proposals out to different venues and things like that. Find people that you can work with that are knowledgeable in the areas, like AV people or security people, guest security, registration. You want to, you can't just, a lot of people think that you just call up a hotel and say, I want to hold a con there. And then within 3 weeks you have a con there, and it doesn't work that way. There's all kinds of things you have to put in place ahead of time. Rent the hall, and it's not just, I want to rent your banquet hall or your ballroom. Well, you got to do that. Then you got to, if you're at a hotel, you got to have room nights assigned to that as well. So,
and insurance and all that.
Fire marshals, you got to have the drapes in the right spot, and the coverings on the tables got to be flame. It's all kinds of different things.
Yeah.
If you're going to run fog, you have to do different code restrictions for that. So it's quite an undertaking.
Yeah. So for anybody that's just joining us, we're talking with Anthony Greco, Fantasm Orlando. And for those that don't know what we're talking about, what is Fantasm Orlando?
Fantasm Orlando is a new horror and haunt convention in the Orlando area. We're doing something different than other conventions. We are having an indoor haunt and escape room experience. It's almost 3,000 square feet large. It's going to be really, really cool. It's professional done. It's not like, just setting up a tent or something like that with, little scary areas in it. We have a celebrity guest track and celebrity guests coming. We have a lot of local horror authors. Shock Reel Cinema Film Festival. This is our 2nd annual film festival. So we have that going on Saturday night. And that is a separate entity, but it's hosted at Phantasm. So yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of like guests and stuff, what kind of celebrities you got lined up?
Well, this year, because we have the new Halloween movie coming out, Halloween Kills, on the 15th, we have James Jude Courtney, who is the current Shape himself, Michael Myers. We have Nick Castle, who was the original Michael Myers from the 78 film. Will Sandon, who was young Michael in the prologue. He is there. PJ Souls, and her boyfriend, Bob, John Michael Graham, are going to be there. Tom Atkins, Stacey Nelkin, Bai Ling from The Crow and Star Wars Episode 3 will be there. Marley Renfro, who is the body double for Janet Leigh in the original Psycho. She's really excited to come out. So I believe she's one of the few remaining cast or crew from that film, from Hitchcock's original film.
So that's definitely someone you're going to want to meet.
Oh yeah, she brings shower curtains and signs shower curtains and things like that. She seems like a really fun lady. Camille Keaton.
You guys.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say you guys also have like Jeff Daniel Phillips on there. Richard Brake is on there. Pancho from 31. They're all there.
They were our latest additions. Yep, we had a couple people that had to back out for various reasons, and we found a couple extra people to come on that were excited to come. So yeah, like you said, Richard Brake, Jeff Daniel Phillips, and Pancho Moeller. Sean Clark from Horror's Hollow Ground is coming. Joe Davidson from Stranger Things. We were talking about Stranger Things a little bit in the pre-show. Mimi Craven from Swamp Thing and the original Nightmare on Elm Street, the nurse, and she was also Wes Craven's wife. So Austin Janowski, Scott Tepperman, and Jim O'Rear from Ghost Hunters International, and Los Bastardos.
This is going to be such a great show, man. I'm telling you, I'm so excited about it. Just looking at this list, looking at the events, I've never seen anyone tackle an escape room inside of a convention before. So I'm super jazzed to try that out.
We had a vendor that came first year that had an escape room as their vendor booth, but this is one that's hosted. It's a third party vendor that is joined up with people that are doing the haunt.
So we all know
there's also a Buried Alive simulator if you want to jump in.
Wow, Buried Alive simulator.
Get buried.
Why do we don't need that?
Oh, I'm definitely doing it.
But don't you want to?
I'm definitely doing it.
No.
It's okay. I'll do it so you won't have to.
If you're all about conquering fears, I suppose that's what. But I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you're gonna get me into the haunt, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. I gotta review it, so I'm going in.
Yeah. So
I'll leave that to you.
Yeah.
I'm good.
We all know that last year everything pretty much shut down. So is this pretty much the same show that you wanted to put on last year?
Well, we had a lot more people join that wanted to help with the show, so it's grown, I believe, because we had that extra time to prepare a little bit longer. A lot of things came to fruition in January of this year, January and February. A lot of partners came on board and wanted to help, wanted to be a part of this show and grow this show. So, and we appreciate every single one of them that has stepped up and been willing to help. And give credit where credit is due, that they are the ones that are helping build this to be something special.
Yeah. So this takes place the 1st through the 3rd of October at the Rosen. What is it?
Shingle Creek. Rosen Shingle Creek.
Yeah. Which I heard someone say that it's loosely based on the Shining Hotel. Is that true?
I don't know if it's loosely based. It has a lot of that nice architecture in it. More, I guess, if you look at the Native American themed big room in The Shining, it's got a little bit of that feel with some archways and stuff going down the halls. I don't think it really looks like The Shining, but it's definitely got a very good character to it. It's not just a standard square halled hotel room.
Right.
It's a gorgeous place. It's huge.
Yeah, you want to tell us about your vendors room? Like, what kind of vendors that you may be having there?
Sure. Everyone does varied types of merchandise and things. We have movie posters, we have model kits, we have toys, books, DVDs, art prints, paintings, um, you know, jewelry. They have, that's the vendors' tables, vendors' booths. Vendors' artist tables have, jewelry, necklaces, lamps, custom masks, custom clothing, hats, glasses, all kinds of different things. It's a very, all horror based vendors room.
See, this already sounds like a fantastic show. What is the prices to get in?
$55 for a weekend pass, and then it's $40 for, or $35 for Friday, then $40 for Sunday or Saturday, and then $30 for Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you have any like VIP like perks?
Yes,
like that?
There's $120 VIP. It's front of the line for signatures and things like that. You tell them, show your VIP badge, and they work you into the line. You get premium seating, first seating close to any of the live shows. You're allowed into all the late night things if your age is, age required to be 18 and up, you can get in, things like that.
Yeah, one of those is a burlesque show. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, which one? You talking about Speakeasy Sirens?
Oh, the Speakeasy Sirens. That's right.
Yeah. Yep. They're coming back. They were there first year. They're a great troupe. They're very, very talented, and they put on a really good show. And it's going to be good. It's going to be really good.
I saw their advertisement. It's a mix of like Stranger Things and Bill and Ted.
Yep. That's
So
it. It's a sequel to last year's show. So.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Yep. There's a Tim Burton burlesque show, Tim Burton based burlesque show coming. Yeah.
Oh.
We have the Shadowcast Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I mean, what's a horror convention without that?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Nice. So, Omar, do you have some questions here you want to ask?
Well, I'm just I'm actually looking at all the different events and making my own little itinerary here for me and the girlfriend to go to. I mean, just the film festivals. I have to, at the very least, leave there with something signed by Tom Atkins, and I have so much of his stuff to sign.
Of course.
He's like, I was trying to explain to my friends that he is 80s horror royalty. He's been in everything.
The stash. He's got that 80s stash.
Yeah,
exactly. And he still rocks it. Unfortunately,
yeah.
I can't grow anything in the middle here, so I can never just do a stash by itself.
It's crazy because I like 70s cop shows and things like that, and I'm a big Rockford Files fan, and he was in Rockford. He's one of the lieutenants that always gave him a bunch of crap, always wanted to bust his chops, and he had no mustache in that. So it's like, wow, going back to it.
And he was also in what I think is one of the better remakes, My Bloody Valentine.
Oh yeah. He his death was quite interesting in that. Yeah, he got the pickaxe right up through the jaw. Ugh.
That's my favorite death in that entire movie.
It's the best one.
It is so good. It's so good. What better guy to take a pickaxe right up through the
into place.
Yeah, and then of course, you mentioned his TV credits, Rockford Files. He was in MASH, which is one of the all-time greatest shows.
Yeah, I'm a big MASH fan. My family give me a lot of guff for that because I'll watch 11 seasons of it and start it right back over. And my wife is like, "You are not starting MASH again." I'm like, "I'm sorry, I love it."
Yeah,
there's always that show.
Yeah.
Always.
So I have this question from Willow since she couldn't be here. She wants to know, what is the secret to putting on a great horror convention where others in big cities have failed miserably?
Failed miserably? I don't know. Like I said, it's finding the right mix of people that handle the job and where they know what they're supposed to do. They do the job to the best of their ability, and then it all comes together. It's a big collaborative teamwork effort. I may be the person that came up with the idea to do the show, but I can't do it myself. I'm not that person. You know what I'm saying? And then I've found people that really believe in the show and they want to do something different. They don't want it to be like how mega cons or other bigger cons, and I hate to throw names out there, but other bigger cons that have gotten so commercial and so big that amusement park feel of really wanting to go and be a part of something has been lost. I mean, anybody can make a big giant dealer's room and sell things. That's a component that should be and always will be there, but there's always something to do. You don't want it to always be like, this is what we give you, take it, So there's always something to do at any time of day. You maybe won't be able to do it all, but
Yeah, there's definitely the team. You surround yourself with great people, then you're going to have a great turnout. So
right, and volunteers too. Not even just people on staff. There's people that write in to say, "Do you need volunteers?" And they feel like they're contributing something and a part of something, and they're not taken for granted in any way.
Yeah. So how has the Rosen taken on? Like they love having the show there, and they're doing their thing of supporting you guys.
Yeah. They first year when we gave them the proposal, they're like, yes, we want this to be here. We want to have you here, and it was really, really. They made some good concessions, like, well, we'll do this and we'll do that, and then is it something that will fit your show? Does it fit how you want it to be? Can you grow here? And yeah, they've been great. I have nothing but good things to say.
Yeah, I mean, the buzz for it is phenomenal. We just had Tampa Comic Con here, in July, or was it late June? And all the horror vendors that I stopped and talked to, because I have to stop and talk to all of them, were buzzing about Phantasm. So I mean, it's super exciting. A lot of local artists I know of are going to be part of the show too. That they said they were going, and I'm excited to see them.
Yeah, we've got vendors coming from far, far away this time too, as well. So we had one that's, I think he said it's a 20-hour trip.
Wow!
Hi, John. How you doing?
Can you expand on the tattoo scene that's going to be over there as well?
There's a local shop called Classic Ink, and it's in Bradenton, and it's my friend Brandon Summers owns it. And then there's a comic shop in the front of it that's run by Ty Harris called Titan Comics. They were there first year. They're going to be there again this year, and they're bringing a special guest tattooist as well to come help them. So.
Okay. Cool.
Nice.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, we hope to expand it, much bigger next year with a tattoo area. Tattoos and horror go hand in hand. Everyone's always.
I was just saying that. Yeah.
Everyone's got to have a pinhead or the Howling or something on them, or a Jason mask or something like that. Even wrestlers, even Chris Jericho's got a big Jason mask on his underarm.
Yeah, I'm saving my right shoulder for American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
I want the Hellhound.
Yeah. Well, not horror related, but last night on AEW Rampage, CM Punk, he brought back the trunks instead of the tights, and on his left and right thigh, right just above the knee, he has Leia and Han Solo.
Yep.
Well, yeah, Punk's got all kinds of stuff all over him. So
yeah, he's got some horror tattoos too, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Speaking
of AEW, the rumor is that my boy Bray Wyatt might be coming right before Halloween, be a Christmas gift, early one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last picture I saw of him is he's like cut his hair and shaved, and I don't know what's he gonna do. I'm so used to seeing the dreads.
He can do it all. So
yeah. Well, what I heard that he may show up this Wednesday in Rochester because that's where Brody Lee is from. So
that's what I heard too. So I'll be paying extra attention on Wednesday for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying to talk him into a tattoo. We can't get him talked into a tattoo.
Maybe.
I think you should get like a giant back piece of just Sam Jackson from Pulp Fiction staring at you, motherfuckerly.
You have no ink at all?
No,
Yes,
No, I
But
don't
you got-
either.
I have 5.
You have 5.
I have a few.
I have quite a few ideas of things that I would want, but I've never pulled that trigger yet. Never pulled that trigger.
There's this fine line between donating plasma to help fund some of the other things that I need to do and getting a new tattoo.
Right, yeah. Well, they're tattoo fans call them collections. They're collect tattoos, so it's they're always looking for that next piece.
Mhm.
yeah, and a lot of the tattoos people get also have a meaning, like part of something in their life, So for those that are just joining us, we have Anthony Greco from Fantasm Orlando. So Anthony, as a horror fan, if you weren't running this show and you were just browsing the internet, you're like, oh, Phantasm, what would you be geeking out about?
Out of this whole, well, obviously I like Halloween and stuff, but probably Tom Atkins. I love Creepshow. It's probably the horror movie I've seen the most in my life, especially when it was on HBO when I was a kid. And the dad in that, him playing the dad in that is just such a jerk character. He gets to smack Stephen King's kid around. So it's like, as a matter of fact, that's actually what I'm planning to get signed. I have the replica of the Creepshow book.
Oh, that's cool.
I just stressed it all up. So I was like, can you please just roll it up and shake it at me?
That's such a good. You said that's a replica?
Yeah, it's a replica. There's a I can't remember the name of the guy, but he's on Etsy and he does replicas of it front and back, and he does all the pages that you see in the movie. It's not the full comic because they didn't.
Oh, wow.
They didn't make it all. They only made certain pages. So it replicated the pages that you do see. And the best thing about it is the voodoo doll comes cut out, so you can't order it because the little Billy already ordered that to torture his father with.
Well, you're gonna have to give
awesome.
us that Etsy information because
I will.
Yes, definitely. I would love to get that.
I believe if I throw a plug out for him, I believe it's Rabid Weasel.
Rabid Weasel?
Weasel. Yeah, I believe that's
awesome.
it. Check it out. Make sure I'm right. I don't want to give the wrong information.
All right. So before we, let you go, because like I said, you're at a show. What are the hours of the show?
Let me pull that up because I don't have that right in front of me. My apologies.
Oh, that's all right.
Should have been prepared. Okay. You need like registration hours or just vendor room?
Just hours for attendees.
Okay. Let me pull it up here. Hotel Wi-Fi. I'm not on a time schedule or anything. I didn't know. Give me a second. Then you try to do it on your phone and small.
So yeah, Omar, looking at the show looks like it's going to be a blast.
I cannot wait.
I'm glad that there's an option, here in Florida. We have options for theme parks. There's options for comic conventions, and now we have options for horror conventions.
Yeah.
So the hours of operation is Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. Because when the dealer's rooms closes, obviously there's late night panels and shows and things. So we close at 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. So it's 10 to 2, and then Saturday it's 9 to 2, and Sunday it's 9 to 6. But the exhibition hours are 1 to. I believe Friday, I believe it's 1 to 7. Then trying to figure out how it is. No, I'm sorry. 1:30 to 8 on Friday. And then it's 10:30 to 7. And then 10:30 to 5. That's the
Awesome.
exhibit hall hours.
Yeah, and I did say this to you before. Thank you for being kid friendly, because there's a lot of kids out there that love horror.
Yeah, and there's, like I said, you're gonna probably see some bloody costumes and things like that. No one's gonna run up and like intentionally scare the children. There's a kids crypt kid room on Saturday and Sunday. There'll be crafts and things to do in there, and we have an amateur makeup artist doing makeup on them, little cuts and scratches if they would like to. Yeah, so we're going to be kid friendly.
Yeah.
Obviously, they won't be into the more adult themed areas.
It's kind of important if your 4-year-old brings this home from their treasure chest.
The little Lego guy.
Starting them off.
I mean, your 7-year-old. Why did I say he was 4?
I
Well, because he's been a horror fan since he was 4.
Yeah. Yes, Oliver's been a horror fan since he was 4 years old.
He was 4 and he couldn't say it, but he'd pull the Puppet Master off of the shelf and say, "Daddy, watch."
My daughter likes the Puppet Master movies, and my son really likes Blade. So yeah, he's Blade. I like Torch. As a matter of fact, I was showing Brian the other day. I got my face mask is
Torch.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite, Oliver? What's your favorite scary movie?
Yeah, my 11-year-old is into the classics right now. He went from the Godzilla and kaiju creature features to now he wants to watch the Universal horrors. So that's exciting for me.
Like I said, when I was younger, I was a Godzilla fan, and the classic monsters. I always liked Creature from the Black Lagoon. He's my favorite of those original. And Rico Browning is we want to keep him in our thoughts right now as the last living Universal monster. He's going through some issues right now, but we wish him well. But like I said, I wasn't so much into the Universal stuff growing up until I got older and watched them. But yeah, it's just my daughter she's big onto like Trick or Treat. She likes Sam a lot. A lot of people like Sam. That character just took off. That movie just took off.
Oh my gosh, just instant icon.
Yep.
Instant.
It's the new Creep Show almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised they actually haven't pushed for a sequel.
Oh, they are. Because he did the Godzilla thing. Mm-hmm. So usually in Hollywood, what happens is you do a big movie to make the movie that you really want to make. So he's going to do the sequel.
And he did Krampus too. So I think
he did Krampus.
He had to do so many of something in order to be able to do the one he wants to do. But I'm waiting for it. Everyone is, I think.
Yeah. And speaking of Krampus, his Naughty Cut is actually coming out on 4K in just about, I think it was October or November.
What a great title.
Yeah. And it's the version that nobody outside of his circle has seen. So we're excited.
That's cool. Yeah, we watched that just this past Christmas. The kids were like, "I want to watch Krampus." I'm like, "Okay."
I love it.
Yeah. So we go from watching the Kurt Russell Santa Claus movie straight into Krampus.
I mean, that just sounds like my household right now. Kurt Russell just can do no wrong, in my opinion.
He's just awesome.
He could just play a brick wall, and I'd watch it.
Yeah. I'm wondering if Netflix is going to do a third film in that series.
I think they are.
Of the Christmas one? I guarantee you they are.
I think they are.
It was good. I mean, and the first one was definitely, a little bit more, standard fare. The second one went in a different direction with the other elf going bad and all that kind of stuff. But they're just fun, and he looks cool as Santa Claus. I'm just expecting him to just pull a patch out one day, and just Snake Plissken it up,
Oh, I know.
Yeah, he's just awesome.
Like, I could go my entire life without a remake of Escape from New York, but they are making a Metal Gear Solid movie, and if he does not play a character in there, just a cameo of somebody, I'll lose it.
Yeah, he's just awesome. I don't care how old he's gonna be or how old, he's always gonna be a badass. He just has that inherent in him that, and he can play goofy too, and he's good at anything, but just he's just a badass. You just can tell, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, Big Trouble Little China has such a giant impact on me growing up.
Yeah.
To the point where when I got the cease and desist for my podcast show name, I immediately changed it to the Pork Chop Express.
Did you? Nice.
Yeah, immediately I was like, nobody has this.
And for a character that is the most inept action hero, I mean, that character, his buddy does everything. He is worthless, but it's just
he literally takes himself out of the third act.
Yeah, he knocks himself out. Yep.
Knocks himself out.
Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of Kurt Russell, one of my favorite films of his, which I believe is an underrated film, and more people need to see it and talk about it, is Breakdown. Is finally coming out on Blu-ray.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that never got released.
Yeah,
good.
Paramount is releasing it in just a few weeks.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember that. What was it? Unlawful Entry with Ray Liotta.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was a good one too. Dark Blue was great. He's just good all the time.
I even love like his kid stuff that he does. Sky High, I think, is such a great little movie.
Yeah.
And my kids are really into that My Hero Academia anime. And they beg to watch Sky High all the time because it's so similar.
Yeah, and Sky High was good because it, you know, you have Bruce Campbell as
right,
gym teacher man,
yeah,
which is great, and it's just funny. And
Linda Carter's in there.
What was the kid that was? War and Peace.
War and Peace, because he had a baddie as a father and a goodie as a mom. Yeah,
conflicting personalities. His name is War and Peace. It's so good. And my favorite scene in that is when Kurt he answers the phone and he gets all mad and smashes the phone, and then he's got a drawer full of replacement phones.
Pulls out a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. So what is on your Mount Rushmore of horror films?
Oh, like my absolute favorite. I'm gonna have to say that they're mostly old. I like the older stuff that I grew up with.
So Mount Rushmore is 4, right?
Okay. Is what? 4 people? Okay.
Yeah.
I would have to put The Shining on there. I like The Shining a lot. It's slow, and I can understand why some people would not like it, but I like the way it's shot. So it would be The Shining, probably Poltergeist, which isn't quite horror, but it's the scary element. Poltergeist, I think, is a perfectly made movie in terms of the ghost story, the family. I don't think there's a better family that's ever been put on screen than those people. I think they're totally, totally believable.
I think it's a great gateway horror too. Like if you're a kid and you're interested in the creepy stuff, but your parents don't want to shock you right away, like Poltergeist is that movie.
Yeah, I mean, other than the guy tears his face, that's your gore, and you got the skeletons at the end, which are pretty freaky, pretty scary the way they pop up.
Yeah.
But
the clown, I think the clown might be really.
I'm just gonna tell you, it's not. It might have been breakthrough horror when now. Like our kids are desensitized to a lot of things.
Right.
It's not as scary now. But when I was young and I saw it, I didn't sleep for days.
Oh yeah.
And so never mind. I guess I don't count. But
no, you count.
Yeah. So since we're on this topic, before we ask for your other films, the debate on Poltergeist is who really directed it, and there's still argument today. Was it Tobe Hooper or was it Spielberg?
Look, man, I'm a giant Tobe Hooper fan. But that feels like a Spielberg movie, right?
It does, and I think
it does.
But then everyone's saying, and even a lot of the higher ups are saying it was definitely Tobe, but it just has that Spielberg feel. And I don't know if it's just because of the time it was made and the crew that Tobe had that came from Steven and the editing and all that kind of stuff. And then you got Goldsmith's music. Tobe wouldn't have music like that,
right?
His Chainsaw or Eaten Alive or anything like that. It just has that E.T. era.
Right. It's very Amblin.
Yeah.
Toby's never made a movie like that.
I would have to default and say I concede that I think that Tobe directed, but I think Spielberg's influence was so major that it just has that feel. I mean, look at Stranger Things or what was the J.J. Abrams 8mm?
Super 8.
Super 8,
Yep.
not 8mm.
Yeah.
Super 8.
Mhm.
When they're running through the town, the little suburbia, and you got the sparks going off, that sequence feels very Spielberg, and they did that on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
Explosions
Oh,
with
yeah.
sparks are more Spielberg, and so I'm going to say Toby did it. I hate to say it because it looks so 100% the other way.
I almost hate to say that it's Spielberg just because of like the mean mugs you get from the horror community for saying something like that, you know?
I know.
Because we all love Toby Hooper so much.
Yeah.
You know, it's
and rest in peace.
that's a quick way to get into a fight is to say that Spielberg directed it.
But if you're one of the greats, can't you emulate something?
Well, the thing
because
is,
you're a fan of it. Like I think if he was side by side and he was working with him, and there was like this honest care about directing a movie and enjoying it, then you kind of pick things up from people, and you can adjust the way you would do things to also like pay homage to that person.
Well, I think how this all started was that Spielberg was working on the film with Toby, but Spielberg also had another film going on at the same time. Mm-hmm. So they were wondering how much, and I guess there was issues where Toby was kind of hard to work with on that set. I've heard that. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there. But I mean, those are the stories going around. So you had The Shining and Poltergeist. That means you got 2 more films.
Shining, Poltergeist. I would say Creepshow only because, like I said, that was one of the ones I also watched the most. I like the comic, like being a comic fan, obviously, and it was just it's so fun, and it's 100% what they set that movie out to be. And even okay, here's another thing. That's Romero, but it doesn't feel like any of the other Romero films. You know what I'm saying? It's each segment. It felt like it was made the same way with completely different type styles to it, but it does not feel like a Romero movie. You can't say that he did Creepshow and then 2 years later or whatever did Day of the Dead. They're completely different, and it's all
what
because
a combination.
Which one?
Though it's Romero, King, and Tom Savini working on a movie. That's a horror fan's wet dream. It's amazing. Like you couldn't ask for better.
And that was the movie where Savini said, "I finally get to make a monster and not just slash a throat, shoot someone in the head." You know what I mean? That was his creature film, and I think it's his best work, and I think even he does too.
Yeah. So we got
it's number 4 that day
in Creepshow. Wow. Oh, number 4.
So you're a Day of the Dead fan of the Romero stuff?
Me? Oh yeah. Oh, most definitely.
Me too.
Most definitely.
I actually did a bub costume 2008, I believe it was.
Oh really?
Yeah. Full dragon skin prosthetic. I grew my hair out.
Oh, that's super cool.
I grew my hair out, bleached it, dyed it, had it thinned. Now if I grew it out, it would be perfect. But yeah, it was full on prosthetic. Number 4, Jaws. Even though it's not horror.
Yes.
Jaws.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And I actually think it is very much a horror movie. I think it's one of the most suspenseful movies since Hitchcock's Psycho.
Yeah.
I love Jaws.
Yeah, I guess when you say it's not a horror movie, it's nature gone amok.
Right. But I mean, think about it though. There's still very much a monster in there, and it's still very much stalking its prey.
Right. And horror's different. Like, horror's got so many subgenres, So yeah, Jaws is definitely horror.
Yeah,
and the monster is there even when it's not there, and that's so brilliant to solve a problem by not having a working creature, and then all you need you need music and a boat pulling barrels. That's all you need.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
I was gonna say you can have one honorable mention.
Honorable mention. Probably Halloween, because it kicked off, even though Psycho is technically the first slasher movie that was ever made, Halloween made it to where horror movies weren't supernatural because you had a lot of the supernatural stuff going on in the 70s, Changeling, Omen. That brought probably a human element to horror movies back where it had lacked for a while. So probably Halloween.
I think it also pushed it
top,
I think it also pushed it firmly into the mainstream. Like, horror fans have always sought after and looked for horror movies to go to, but when the general public is flocking to every showing, that's special, man. And that's what Halloween did. That's what Carpenter was able to do with a synth machine and bad lighting.
Wasn't that movie only made for like 300,000 or something like that?
300,000 and a bunch of friends, just a bunch of buddies, And then Cunningham, when they made Friday the 13th, which blatantly ripped off the feel, it was the same exact thing. Friends, low budget, just a title for an idea, and no idea. They just ran with it.
So let me ask you this, because this is an ongoing argument here, and Omar may agree or disagree. Why did Halloween succeed where Black Christmas didn't?
That I don't know.
Because a lot of people will say that Black Christmas was like the first one, right after Psycho.
Black Christmas was definitely in the Italian feel, the giallo, slasher feel, like Argento and Bava and all those guys. Maybe we weren't just ready for that style. I
think you hit it right on the head with that.
The more touristic style and not a movie, because you watch some of the Argento stuff with the black gloved killers. They are a strange beat. They hit strange beats. And
I agree.
They're great, but they're uneven in some aspects. And I don't think America was ready for it. Although you do have that.
I'll go as far as
Black Christmas, which is so creepy, so damn creepy.
I'll go as far as saying that, and this might be unpopular, but Halloween feels very much like an American movie, right? Like it's scary, but it has a beginning, middle, and a resolution where, it's open-ended, but you don't leave the theater creeped out by said ending. You're like, okay, he escaped. I have a couple summers until he comes back. Versus Black Christmas is so uneasy with the voice of Billy at the end that it skeeves me out even talking about it. Yeah, because it's just so unsettling. It is very giallo. I don't think. I mean, they're all in 4K for you.
What'd you say?
But
I said I could see his goosebumps just talking about Black Christmas.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I don't think the American public was quite ready to see something like that, and therefore it didn't take off the way that Halloween did. Also, Halloween was aimed, I feel, directly at teens, right? Like he was hunting and stalking babysitters.
This was because Black Christmas was the sorority house type, aspect to it. Yeah, it's like like all the going back to like bird with crystal plumage. They're so strange. And things like that, deep red. They're just strange. And I don't think that, Suspiria and stuff like that worked a little bit better, I think.
She loves Suspiria. I mean, that's one of my favorite films.
I think it was a different, it hits you different, though, because the beats are so weird and because it's kind of a supernatural, kind of witchy vibe. It lends itself to it a little bit more.
But that music by Goblin.
Right.
Goblin's always good. Matter of fact, I'm playing the ads here, and I've got the Day of the Dead Goblins going on in the background all the time.
Nice.
Yep. So
nice.
But also, I think Halloween. I think whatever it is like that underlying tone of like you have one person that's the true nemesis of whoever, and they survive throughout the whole thing. And so that final girl like trope with Jamie Lee Curtis did finally, like, it really solidified everything. So a lot
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
those tropes and that evil never really dies, like, and even in this one that's supposedly, you know, the end coming up, it's like she's like, I'm gonna take his mask off, and I'm like,
Well, there's one more after that.
close
There's
to
another
take
one.
his mask off.
There's
One
two
more.
There's this
Well,
one,
I'm
and then the
scared.
one.
I don't know. I don't want to see
Yeah.
what's under.
Well, but
like,
they're saying
I-
that
good.
the next film called Halloween Ends, which comes out next year, is a more self-contained film. So I'm trying to figure out what that means.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm trying not to
Yeah,
listen
that's-
to it. I want to see where they go with it, because, you know, they've started and stopped with timeline so many times in the series that
Oh man, more than any other, I feel like,
Yeah.
right? Like the continuity for that film franchise is insane.
that's why this is the only way to do it. If they want to get rid of the sister aspect, you have to start it straight from the sequel, and then we get to see, from what they're teasing, you get to see how they catch them, which is like that's got to have a good payoff for him to just be caught. You know what I mean? It's got to be good.
Right.
Right.
So
So since you're a big Halloween fan, for people that have not seen the series, how would you recommend people to watch it? Since you said they have, the different timelines.
up until I'm not that big a fan of H2O and Resurrection as I am the other ones. I like H2O. Halloween 2, I think, is my favorite. I like Dick Warlock as the Shape. I like how he looks. I like how he moves. I would watch 1 and 2, and then I would rather that be the end of it. You know, for the original saga. I think Michael's dead at the end of 2. Do like 4, and I do like 5. I know 5 gets a lot of hate because of the mask and the directing and all that. I really do like 5 a lot. I think 5 looks better than 4 and has a little bit more of a consistent, I wouldn't say consistent tone, but I don't know. I think the characters are better in it. I'm not that big a fan of the characters in 4, but I would probably go 1 and 2 and then stop. And then I would probably go, depending how these next 2 go with the current timeline, if I had my say. But I love 3 as a standalone.
Oh yeah.
I mean, everyone shits on it, but man, I think it's so good, so creepy.
Oh yeah, that's required October viewing for me.
Oh,
every year, 31 Days of Halloween. That's on there.
Yeah.
Same.
So we're talking about Halloween, and then you bring up Halloween 3. Did you guys ever see Sean Clark's Horror Hallowed Grounds on Halloween 3 when he goes to the sets?
Yeah, and they wouldn't let him in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you talking about when you went with Tommy Lee Wallace? Yeah, and they get bitched out by the meth head or whatever, and
the guy, he wanted to like fight Sean Clark and stuff. That was so funny.
yeah. He's talked to me a little bit about it before, and he's had interviews and stuff where he's talked to people about it. How it was a big thing, and then the actual owner of the property came out and told him to shut the hell up and go back inside and let him finish filming.
So what Sean Clark does, he's done something that no other person has done. And would you like to see more of these done for horror films?
Oh, the Horror's Hologram, of course. Yeah, he does. He's doing so many of them right now that he says he's got on the back burner that he's got to finish editing and get out there. He just went to the Buffalo Bill house, did a whole Silence of the Lambs location shoot, stayed overnight in the house. I think he said he was the first person to stay there as a bed and breakfast. So that's pretty cool.
Was Goodbye Horses playing the entire time?
Well, he went down in the basement, and they've got the flag up, and they've got the lights going and all that stuff. So, and he says that the owner is planning to put the well in there. He is going to dig the well.
Nice
for tourists to look at. Yeah, I love making of stuff. I'm a big behind the scenes guy. My kids call it the talking of. They come and I'll be watching something. They go, "Is this the talking of?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm watching the talking of." So I love it. I like how it's made.
Same here.
That's why I'm a big fan of the whole like physical media versus digital, because you get all those special features. And I love how movies are made, and I want to find out how certain things, how they came up with ideas and stuff, and that just intrigues me. And Nicole's been getting into it lately
I love
too.
it.
Brian's one of those people is like, I was always into the paranormal stuff. So if it was supernatural, I was down. And if there were vampires, I was there. But I wasn't really there for the slasher stuff. And he still to this day laughs at me because I run when I hear motorcycles. I don't know why.
My wife's
exactly why.
I do know why. Freaking chainsaws. But you didn't realize that I had been chased by a chainsaw before, and that's why I also don't go to haunted houses. So I'm scarred. I really was. I was scarred by chainsaws way before I met you. But like watching a lot of the behind the scenes and like hearing people talk about their characters, it was like, this is why people are so excited about holding on to horror, because they love what they did, they love what they created, and they love the people that still, carry the torch for them, kind of. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
When do you guys normally end your streams?
So she probably watches stuff like this too, because my wife does that. So
yeah,
but she likes to hold on to when she's watching it. That's real. Those are the characters. You know what I mean? She doesn't want to know that they stood around for 7 hours before they filmed a reaction or a death scene or something like that. She invests in what she's watching with anything. Like when they redid the Star Treks and they got the new cast, she's like, well, that's it. They can't play anything else ever. They are Kirk, they are Spock, they are Sulu, they are, she invests in it like that, so.
It is hard to see other people in the roles because you're like, wait, what? And maybe that's why Brian's like, well, he was so-and-so. I'm like,
I do it all the time. I can't shut up. I'll watch a movie and go, hey, that was so-and-so. And she's like, will you shut up?
It's like right now.
They call me Wiki Omar at home.
Wiki Omar?
Yeah.
Nice.
Brian remembers names and stuff. So like I've seen pictures of people. Like I was going through the schedule and stuff, and I was like, I have a feeling that I probably know who these people are, but I don't know who they are because I don't know anybody's real names. Like Brian will know their real names, and he'll be like, he was this person and da 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 da. And I'm like, I am okay.
Yeah, my wife said she's that way. Like the Pirates. What's that?
I said, which one of these movies have I seen? Like, what do I know them as?
Yeah. I always say, I always go back to this one instance, like when I got with my wife and the Pirates of the Caribbean movies were coming out, and she was talking about something, and she was talking about another movie. And she goes, oh yeah, I think Johnny Depp, I think his name was. It's like, you think his name is Johnny Depp? It's like the top actor right now. You think his name is Johnny Depp? I always bust her chops on that one. That's how she is.
Yeah. So, Anthony, do we need to let you go, or do you just want to hang out with us?
I probably should get going. I don't know. I'm meeting somebody and stuff. I can hang out, but we're gonna learn about Omar.
Yeah,
a little bit, yeah.
So Omar has joined our team, and Omar, what kind of cool things do you have planned for Reels and Heels?
Well, one, let me just say thank you again for giving me this chance to write editorials for you. That's going to be a lot of fun. With it being the spooky season, I got a few ideas for editorials down the pipeline. My first one, I really want to touch base on a project that I've been following really closely, and that's Rob Zombie's The Munsters. When I was a kid, I loved watching The Munsters over and over again. And, 8th grade was my first concert ever, and it was a Rob Zombie concert. So this is kind of a melding of weird worlds that I get to enjoy as an adult now. And I like everything so far that I've heard rumors about, that I've seen. He's posting a lot of stuff for the fans, like they're rebuilding from the ground up 1313 Mockingbird Lane in Budapest right now. strong rumors are that Mr. Phillips is in the movie as Herman. So I don't know that for sure, but I may try to bribe him with some craft beer. I don't know. We'll find out next week.
Bribe him? Yeah.
We'll find out next week if I can get any information out of him. But I'm very, very excited to meet him, and so I just want to touch base on that and kind of talk about the rumors and the excitement for the project, and
Thank you.
and then after that, man, I'm gonna be busy because starting on the 5th, all the streaming networks are going to start putting out their Halloween specials and stuff. Netflix has that Escape the Undertaker special that I'm looking forward to. Of course, we've talked about it for a little bit now, but I'm going to be reviewing the Phantasm convention, and I'm super excited about that. Kayla and I will be there to experience everything it has to offer and report back to everyone on it.
I hope we pass.
Something tells me you guys are going to. Something tells me.
Yeah, right.
It's my first horror convention, so
Yeah, we've been here since 2012, and we just never have gone to a horror convention. So,
well, spooky was always too expensive. It was
it was expensive.
It's always the beginning of the school year, and it's like our summer funds have been depleted, so it's like, well, we don't have any real cash to go.
Right.
And Brian is always like, you said you promised you'd go to haunted house with me, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm a wuss.
And you don't go to horror nights or Hollow Scream or any of that because you don't.
I told him I would, but I really have this like thing of people jumping out at me. Like I just, for whatever stupid reason, I just can't do it. So like if I even think that they're gonna jump out at me, I'm already freaked out. So
oh boy, so horror nights will be fun.
I think I would be a terrible person to go with. Like I really do. Like I might get arrested for punching somebody. Like,
that's one of the things is like I've always wondered about. Obviously cast members there have to sign a release that they won't. Someone could hit them. You can't hit back. You just got to take it. I would be pretty nerve-wracked at that, knowing that at any given moment, somebody's boyfriend could knock me in the face for scaring them or something. You know what I mean? It
wouldn't be Brian's. He would be laughing, and I would be punching them because that's my fight or flight. Like I'm like, either I'm going to scream and pee my pants, or I'm going to punch you. Like
sometimes both.
Right? Like
just do one of these.
So here's a story.
Extra clothes.
A story that I've told before. Nicole doesn't like me telling the story. This is why she's afraid of chainsaws and stuff. We were living in Las Vegas, and we saw the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie that was released. It was the prequel to the remake.
It was the first one I'd ever seen.
Beginnings. And so it was a late night showing, and we saw the movie theater was at a casino. So we were parked in a parking garage, and the parking garage was pretty empty. So we were walking through, and a motorcycle starts, and it sounds just like a chainsaw. And all I see is that I turn, and she's gone. Yeah.
I'm running to the car. He's like, "What are you running for?" And I'm like, "I'm running away from the whatever that is."
And then the motorcycle just drives by.
He's laughing his ass. He thought it was the.
I have a similar story. Halloween Horror Nights one year, they were doing. It was like they had all the icons there, right? They had a Leatherface house, they had a Jason house, they had a Freddy house, and the Jason house. I went with my best buddy, his girlfriend that he had just started dating. And then my like high school sweetheart, who we had been dating solid for like 2 years at that point, right? And my buddy Kyle hears the chainsaw and just blitzes, just jukes out his girlfriend because she was in front.
Just leaves.
Just completely just like, pulls an Adrian Peterson on her and like darts. And my immediate reaction is to follow suit.
Yeah, because you don't know.
And that was the end of the relationship between me and my high school sweetheart. She promptly dump me right afterwards. And you know what? Don't blame her. I hope she's doing well.
No regard for her. You just bolt, huh?
It's like, you know what? It was obviously not meant to be. We all know who I was going to choose in that situation. So
Yeah.
that's not love. That's not love.
We're going to have to let Anthony go because it looks like people are coming up to his table.
Yay.
So
Which is
thank
good.
you.
That's good. Yeah, thank you, guys. Nice to meet you both. And then I'll see you all in a
next
week.
Yeah, we'll see you next
Anthony,
week.
I might just visit you today. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see you. You going to be dressed like Windows from the thing?
Most definitely.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us,
guys.
Anthony.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, so Fantasm Orlando, October 1st through the 3rd in the Rosen Shingle Creek.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, guys.
All right, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Anthony.
Bye-bye.
Omar, that's going to be fun.
Dude, I am so pumped for this. I am so excited.
Can we just say that I've never met a promoter that's been so like down to earth?
Yeah, exactly. And who's just he seems to genuinely love everything, right? Like it's not, I don't want to like throw out like names of people I've met in the past, but like I've met a decent amount of promoters of like horror conventions in particular. And they're just not all as cool.
I know.
It's a sad truth about these things.
He reminds me of Tony Khan a little bit. Like he's a fan.
Yeah.
And anybody who is willing to come and just talk about whatever, like he's like, I appreciate you putting the name out there, but yeah, let's talk court. I think that's kind of cool, you know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, did you have a chance to check out Rampage last night?
No, but it's on my to-do list. It's Sundays is when I usually catch up on things. You know, with the foot injury and stuff, I've been dragging myself into a early coma every night. But it's getting better. It feels good. I don't have the cane today, so I feel pretty good.
That's good. It was a great show. It opened up with Punk and Hobbs. I won't tell you how it went. I mean, it was a great match. Punk definitely still has it. And I didn't see as much.
There's no ring rust. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's no
nice.
I'm a big proponent of the women's wrestling. So like I loved WWE's like push towards it, but I am super excited about watching these women. Like Thunder Rosa is freaking amazing. I mean, like she can cut a promo like nobody's business. Like,
I mean, is it just me, or does the talent in AEW just seem to just have more life in them? Mm-hmm. Like they're genuinely excited to do the show versus like in the WWE, you'll always have your mainstays. I mean, the people that are good at the business are good at the business, but like for such a big roster, you get a lot of phoned in matches lately, and it's a little unfortunate. I hate to criticize them, but it's the truth right now. It just seems like there's turmoil in the back, and it's leaking into the performances.
I mean, look what they did with the NXT.
And some people are okay with it. I'm not one of them. I'm not too happy about the shift.
They have a few great talents still there in NXT, and then some of the new guys. I mean, come on, Rick Steiner's son, but they're not going to call him a Steiner. What's up with that?
I mean, not yet. Wait till that character crashes and burns, and then they're going to redo it. Like I could see that happening.
Well, then what happens to the guys that have really cut their teeth in NXT, and then they move them to something totally different, and what happens to them? Like they kind of disappear and they get lost in the card. And
right now
that's not fair.
That's exactly it.
I mean, Ciampa is the champion of NXT there now, and he's one of the original NXT guys. Kyle O'Reilly is still there, Roderick Strong, but I mean, are they going to let them go to the main or are they going to let them go see you later?
I think we're looking at a cut. I don't think Vince cares even a little bit about what they're doing over there, and he just wants it to feed new talent. And unfortunately, that means that a lot of guys are are going to be going elsewhere.
Yeah.
But with promotions like AEW, you know, the market, it's not so scary anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to lose the gig at the WWE, it's not so scary.
I mean,
there are other options now.
There's a lot of options. AEW is not the only one. There's New Japan. There's Ring of Honor. There's Impact, which is coming back. And NWA, Billy Corgan is running a great promotion over there. A lot of people are talking about it.
But I also think that now that they have a lot of the older guys that have come back to a lot of these other promotions, that they feel like they'll have still a place to learn and hone their craft. And I just feel like, you know, it's like I'll give Taz a lot of shit on Rampage and everything that I watch that he commentates because he's so annoying. I told Brian last night, I said, I just want to punch him in the face. I'm like, shut up. But he's so good at what he does that, you know, he starts fires and kind of like sucks you into the story and you're excited about what's happening.
I mean, well, look who's under Taz and Team Taz that he is helping. His son Hook. And then Will Hobbs, Ricky Starks. Don't sleep on Ricky Starks. He's going to be a big star one of these days. I
haven't seen a lot of the guys wrestle now. Like I've only been watching religiously for a couple of weeks.
Ricky Starks was on commentating on Rampage this week with Taz. And Ricky Starks' character right now.
Did I stay awake for that? Did I fall asleep?
It's all right. It's all right. I understand. You're a teacher. Ricky Starks, his character is reminiscent of when The Rock was with the Nation of Domination.
Okay.
And when The Rock got cocky, that's how Ricky Starks is right now. So there's a lot of parallels there. We saw what happened with The Rock.
Yeah, you know, it's funny that out of all these successful superstars that have come out of the WWE, you don't see many people try to emulate The Rock as much. You see people do every few years there's a new Ric Flair or a new Shawn Michaels, which, you know, it's one and the same. But you never really see that
AJ
with
Styles into that list.
You know, AJ and what was the one? Ziggler, Dolph Ziggler was very Shawn Michaels-esque in there. But you don't see many people try to pull The Rock, you know, that shtick. And I always find that very surprising because you would think that like that's the path to success.
Yeah. If you have a
don't
chance,
see a lot of people try to emulate John Cena either, really, because I think that a lot of their character is really who they are. Mm-hmm. Like the way they would deliver lines, the way they would say something, the way they would, you know, just the way they would carry themselves. I think a lot of it's that way. I don't think it would be a recipe for success for anybody else.
Yeah. So, Omar, have you had a chance to watch Dark Side of the Ring? And if so, how many episodes have you seen?
I've seen a few of them. I've kind of jumped around on them. Let me think. I obviously saw that's the one that had the Montreal Screwjob episode, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I obviously saw that. I think that's the first one I watched. Saw the Macho Man one because that was my favorite wrestler. I just recently saw the Plane Ride from Hell.
Do you want to talk about that one?
Special. Yeah, we can.
All right. So we'll start with you. What were your thoughts when you saw that, and how does it make you feel about certain people?
Man. So
and you can be brutally honest. It doesn't matter.
It's conflicting, right? Because you don't want to say something that sounds like you're condoning behavior, because I'm not. You know, obviously, I think Ric Flair was in the wrong in what he was doing, and you can't blame everything on alcohol and coke all the time, even if you are made up of 98% of it. I tend to believe that, you know, it was heat of the moment partying and that he genuinely didn't intend for things to escalate. That being said, like, what do you like? Where does the punishment go there? You know, like, I personally think he should get in front of it and apologize to everyone, to the fans, regardless of what they're thinking, and maybe lie low for a little while until and he'll be back. He's got enough of a following that the people will always figure out a way to forgive him as long as he's not a piece of garbage about it, right?
Yeah.
We've seen it in other situations with other older wrestlers. I mean, the Hogan situation did blow over, and whether you like that outcome or not, that's the truth of the matter. He came out, he apologized. Whether it was sincere or not is not up to us to decide. And I mean, the fans overall forgave him.
Yeah. I know a lot of people right now are coming down on Tommy Dreamer because the comments
he's getting serious heat.
I mean, the comments he made were like today, he was, it wasn't like old comments.
Right.
So
right.
Well, he is like, well,
that's just the way the boys were.
And I mean, it's one of those things where, dude, you don't have somebody like advising you to keep your mouth shut about this thing. Like, nobody's telling you this is a bad idea.
Well, I mean, he got suspended from both Busted Open and Impact Wrestling.
And then he apologized, but then he turns around and says, a whole other host of things. So it's like,
right, exactly.
Are you really sorry? Like, Ric Flair's approach was, I've already talked about this to extent with these other people that have covered this wild part of my life. And so I don't feel like I need to say anything. Well, here's the thing. Like, why not? Like, how are we so sure that what you said before was true?
Yeah, because what he's alluding to was the interview he did with ESPN for the 30 on 30 special that Ric Flair did. What was it, a couple years ago?
Right. And I mean, look, pride is a huge Achilles heel because at the end of the day, this is not the hardest thing he's ever had to do. To come out and apologize, one more time? Just get ahead of it and just be like, look, I did say, I did address this before, but for those who are just hearing about this now, to the fans, to the people I hurt, here we go. Like, it's not a hard thing to do. It doesn't take that much time out of your day to do so. Just empathize, realize that people are still hurting, and that you can do something about that.
Yes.
And it's not money. It's admitting money. Like, I feel like they threw money at her and she had no choice but to take it. And so having dealt with this whole escapade of not just one time, but multiple times over the course of that time that they were all over there, that she had to deal with this or something would happen to her job. She's thinking her livelihood overall. And then, nobody wants to be harassed when they go to work, and not everybody can take it. Like, I'm going to look at people and
she wasn't the only one. There was other flight attendants that, Scott Hall had grabbed, Dustin Rhodes.
They didn't go forward and say as much as she did. And I don't think that we should condemn her, but I do think that she should have spoke out for everybody else. And I know that back then we weren't in a place where we could, and even now we still aren't, is that, we need to not be afraid of speaking up and saying this person treated me like shit and I deserve better. And, he's never going to apologize in that way. And it's a shame, but at the same time, it's the climate we're currently living in. Tommy Dreamer says, well, you're always going to offend somebody. Well, or, she shouldn't have taken the money then. She should have taken it to court. And I'm like, then you don't understand.
Like, no, dude, you pressured her. Yeah.
You don't understand the emotional toll that kind of treatment puts on somebody. It's like, I can say that I wouldn't let it happen, but I've never been in the situation. So how do I know how I would feel and adjust to it after it happened to me? I can say, you know, I want to be there for women that have gone through that and fight for them, and please, you know, fight for everybody else who has to go through it. But at the same time, it's like, maybe that's all she felt she had right then.
I think this is a topic that down the line we'll have to do an episode on, just Dark Side of the Ring, because as a show, it is fantastic. It is one of the best wrestling documentaries out there.
Oh yeah, they're fascinating. They're great.
Yeah.
So you would never think that wrestling, you know, things would make you cry, but I cried during the Chris Benoit show, the Chris Benoit one.
Brian
I cried
Pillman.
during the Brian Pillman, the Owen Hart, the
The
Eddie
Owen Hart one
Guerrero.
gets me.
You know, like,
And then the newest episode is about Chris Canyon. I can tell you right now, it's gonna make Nicole cry.
Yeah, I mean, they live
any situation
these like
like
carnival circus lifestyles where they are literally working, you know, every single day of the year, and that will mentally break down anyone. Let's not even bring in the physicality of what they do. Just mentally, like, how does a sane person do that for that long?
Yeah.
It doesn't exist, you know?
Yeah. This is, like I said, this is definitely a future episode, and you're going to have to come back and join us after you've seen a few more episodes.
Oh, for sure.
Of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Since hanging out with you, my love of pro wrestling has been reignited big time, and I'm like digesting more and more content like every day. It's just like, well, I got to make room for this too, and do this and catch up on this show.
Yeah, and then you know, I kind of helped you out there with that TNT app. So
you more than helped me out. You more than helped me out with that, the kids appreciate you for that too, because now they can watch AEW with their dad.
Yes,
it's really like honestly, I always, like 1998, I think, like the first time that I went to a live show at, you know, which I understand it was WCW and WWE then, but you know, like that was the last real, you know, like amount of time that I really spent watching it until we got together. And then I was like, it's the same. Like after a while, you didn't have to watch it every week because you didn't really care, you know? And then, you know, they'd bring certain people back that I was invested in.
Right.
And then they did what they did with the women's division. And I was like, okay, you know, I can get back behind this. And then Brody Lee died, and I didn't know much about Brody Lee, but I watched the way they both handled it, and I was like, you know, that's kind of sad. Like, this was a person who wrestled for your company, and you didn't honor him in any way.
Right.
And I just felt really sad, and I was like, well, you know, there's always going to be a little bit of a draw. Wherever Edge is, I'm going to be there. You know, Bianca Belair, I can't really walk out on her either. You know, like she deserves so much more, but at the same time, how long before she decides to jump ship too?
Yeah.
Because they didn't do her any favors either.
Yeah. So I do want to bring this up, but go ahead and ask what you're.
Oh, I was going to say that, you know, I grew up in the Attitude Era, you know, watching that stuff. I mean, I had been familiar with what came before because my dad would rent, you know, Royal Rumbles and WrestleManias for us to watch, and I could see all the past ones. But then, you know, there was a point in my life where I just completely like petered off, and I didn't know these new wrestlers anymore, and they weren't anything to me. And then Bray Wyatt shows up with his, you know, Cape Fear cultist character. And I was just like,
it was kind of like a Deliverance type.
Yeah. I was just like, man, this is the heir to the Undertaker. This is who they gotta put their eggs in the basket with. You know, they tried to make it Kane for a while. They tried so many times to, like, they had the Boogeyman. They tried so many times to replicate what was special about the Undertaker, and they never could. And then Bray Wyatt shows up and just completely steals every show. His rivalry with Cena, with Reigns, I ate all those promos up. The weird Mr. Rogers, like, Puppet Playtown thing that he
The
does.
Firehouse.
The Firehouse. Yeah, the
Firehouse.
Firehouse Furniture, which is a complete callback to House of a Thousand Corpses with Rob Zombie, with the Firefly Clan,
Yeah.
and the Tom Savini mask that looks something straight out of what Corey Taylor would wear in Slipknot. Like, when they let him go, I was like, oh, y'all done messed up real bad, because if he goes to AEW, that's where my main focus is going to be now. You're going to be the other show.
Yeah, and he's very creative. Like,
oh yeah,
WWE will say that they created the Fiend, which is BS.
No, yeah, I mean, you can tell, right? You can tell how much influence he has on his characters.
Yeah. So wherever he goes, the two that are sparking interest right now is Impact and AEW. As a fan of Bray Wyatt and a newly found love or re-love of wrestling, I don't know, a re-spark of interest, a rekindle. Yeah.
Renewed my vows, maybe.
Yeah. Where do you see him fit better if it was Impact versus AEW?
I think he's going to do great no matter where he goes, as long as he's given the creative freedom he needs to like really develop his characters. But I can't say that I wouldn't want to see him in AEW right now, feud with the likes of Kenny Omega and Danielson and Punk, and like, I think you could do some really special stuff with him and Sting. Some stuff that we maybe didn't get with The Undertaker and Sting. Like, it would be really amazing. You just have to have the guts to let him run with it.
Would you pair him with the Dark Order?
Pair him in, like, as far as like align him or make. I think I would go the other direction and have him feud. Like, have him disrupt them.
His own, like a creator of his own stable, as opposed
like
to
exactly, like basically, like, I'm going to take everything from you. I've arrived. Like, how cool would that be? We talked about Goosebumps earlier. Like, I got him right now, man. I'm just talking about him.
Yeah. So if he indeed does go to AEW and he shows up this Wednesday in Rochester, which is the home of Brody Lee, I think it will be more than Goosebumps with you. I think you will be.
Okay.
I'll have to shoot a reaction of me screaming.
But let me just say that I very much enjoyed the turn that he gave, the opportunity that he gave to Alexa Bliss. That was a turn to her character that I think needed to happen. People needed to see her as a little bit more of a contender, a little bit more brutal, a little bit more,
and she's making it work.
And she's she's killing it. So
I was gonna say, what an awesome character that is too. That's what I'm saying. Like, you couldn't give a little bit of slack on the leash for these guys. I mean, everything he touches is gold. I can't think. I mean, besides The Undertaker himself, it's really hard to reinvent your character and stay relevant in the eyes of the fans. And he's done it, 3 times?
Yeah.
Yeah. And let me ask how many second or third generation wrestler outshines their predecessor? Their parents. So there's not many. I mean, Randy Orton definitely outshines his dad. Bray Wyatt definitely outshines his dad.
And I'd be hard pressed to argue anyone else, because as much as I enjoyed what Dustin Rhodes did, Dusty's so iconic. People still fondly remember him, and I just don't think he was able to get out of that shadow.
I think Cody, not on the in-ring wrestling stuff, but the behind-the-scenes stuff, kind of is on par with his dad, because of course Dusty did have was in charge of his own company back in the day.
Yeah, I think years from now, we're going to look back at Cody's career and say he definitely did surpass. He'll be the most successful of that lineage, of that legacy. I don't know if people are ready to say that yet, but I can definitely see that happening.
I think he has cashed in on it a little bit, calling himself the American Nightmare, because as he's very much different from his father. Like there's a dichotomy there. There's a little bit more ruthless. Like there's a lot about Dusty in the ring that was still very lovable no matter what he said.
I mean, he was that, that just all like, regular American,
yeah,
and son of a plumber man,
And there's an air of Cody that you just fucking hate. Like just the way he walks. There's something about him that I just don't like. Whatever that air that he puts out on TV is. Like he's a good heel.
Here we go.
He's a great heel. He is very much.
He's really good.
He at first, when he got let go from WWE, and this was before AEW was a thing, and he was wrestling the indies, and he went to New Japan and did Ring of Honor. He was bad mouthing Triple H. He has become Triple H.
Yep.
He has. He's sort of. I liken him a lot to The Miz and his character. I think that they're very similar, and I think that's partly why they felt good letting him go and cutting ties, because they inhabit that same kind of space, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, behind the scenes wise, he's totally Triple H.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So I told Nicole this the other day.
I still don't think that we need a reality show following him around, though.
Probably.
Well, that's gonna be like, who did it better, Cody or The Miz? I like Miz and Mrs. I think that show is hilarious.
But okay, we haven't. In all fairness, we haven't seen enough about Brandy either, so we don't know how they're gonna play off.
The difference is
Maurice is not the she's not the Maurice that went to the ring. Like she's not even the same person.
Right. But the difference is that they're wrestlers. Well, where the Cody and Brandy thing, we're going to see them. Yeah, they're
the
family,
behind the scenes,
because he actually is part of AEW. So we're going to see a lot of that stuff, which that intrigues me to see the behind the scenes stuff of AEW. So I told this to Nicole the other day that Kenny Omega, before Grand Slam on Wednesday, was being interviewed, and the interviewer asked if you can sign anybody right now to join AEW, who would you sign? The first person he mentioned was Roman Reigns.
Really?
Yeah. Could you imagine Roman Reigns in the character he is right now in AEW? That would be like taking the leash off the dog.
I mean,
I think he could do it.
I just don't think it'll ever happen, right? Like,
no, I mean, but
the WWE would
like put your fantasy,
Right. Yeah, man. I've always thought that Roman suffered, unfortunately, from
being
WWE's creative. They have a very specific idea of what role they want him to play, and they won't let him get out of that. Versus, like, the same thing was happening to The Rock, and The Rock said, "Look, let me go heel. Let me do this thing and bring this in. And if you don't like it, I'm done. We'll go back to whatever you want to do, or you could just let me go." And it paid off in a big way, right? Wrestling has become so scripted that it's to its detriment sometimes. These guys used to be in charge of their own characters and used to be able to bring unique stuff to them that kept it fresh and interesting. It didn't feel forced because they loved those characters. They inhabited those characters. I think that Roman could benefit from different creative in the eyes of the fans and everything. Something that he's always struggled with in his tenure at WWE.
Yeah. And I mean, and this is what makes Tony Khan such a great boss, is he gives his employees free reins, even though he has the final say. He gives them bullet points, but he says, "Go."
Well, he's learning, right? He's listening to his talent. He's got Chris Jericho there, who has more experience than most of the guys, you know, in any roster.
Yeah.
Who was able to tell him, look, I've wrestled for the top promotions in the business, and this is what I think is right. This is what I think is wrong. What do you think, boss? Like, and he takes that feedback. You know, I'm just using Jericho as an example, but like it's could say that about a number of the guys he has with him.
Yeah, I mean, backstage he has Malenko, he has Arn Anderson, Jerry Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
These are people that have wrestled all over the world for many people.
Right.
I mean, even Dustin, he wrestles sometimes, but he does a lot of backstage stuff as well.
Right. Which I think he's probably more comfortable there.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll definitely have to talk some more wrestling, especially the whole deal with Cena. People trying to cancel John Cena now because of remarks he made on Howard Stern a few years back.
I mean, talk about like the most futile like hill to die on, right? Like, there's no way you're going to be able to cancel this guy. Like, the amount of goodwill he pushes out on a regular basis, and he's so beloved.
So since I brought this up, we're going to make it quick and short. So he was on Howard Stern,
Mhm.
and I don't know, this was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, whatever. And he said that he thought Chris Kanyon wasn't a great wrestler. He didn't say anything bad about Chris Kanyon.
No,
he just said
he was being very candid.
So this Thursday, the Chris Kanyon Dark Side of the Ring episode airs, and people are like, "Oh, let's cancel John Cena."
Look, after the success of the Suicide Squad and that hilarious Vacation Friends movie that he just put out on Hulu, that guy, I could record him right now on my phone, kick a baby in the teeth across the street, and people would still love him. It would not faze anybody.
Dude,
it ain't happening.
He makes dying children's lives happy.
Yes. I have met him once before, and he was the most genuine and nicest person I had ever met in the business. And I've met some very nice people in the business. And that was during a time when I wasn't watching pro wrestling, you know? And I knew who he was because he was on every cereal box. But, you know, he was excellent. He was such a cool guy, and he, you know, made time for every fan, talked to each one of them individually. He was great.
Yeah. Well, Omar, this has been a great episode. Oh, hold on.
Okay. I'm just saying, like, all he said was, he said on Howard Stern that Chris Kanyon wasn't any good. Okay, that's a personal opinion. Shut the fuck up. Who cares? So correct me if I'm mistaken, but John Cena is getting canceled for saying someone isn't good at wrestling. Like,
right.
Grow the fuck up, people. Like,
it's so insane sometimes.
I joined this thing called.
Oh yeah, go ahead, finish it.
No, it's just flabbergasted is the only word I can think of for like the reaction I have to some of these people. Like, they're all out of their minds.
Yeah.
I just, you know, like if I got butthurt about every time somebody told me I wasn't good at something, I think, you know, I'd have to crawl in a hole and die somewhere. Like, I don't care. Like, I just will continue to do what I think is right and what I feel like.
If there's anybody that's going to say you suck at something, it's you.
He's dead. Like, I can't, like, so you said something mean about somebody who's dead now. Okay, well, people say mean stuff about people all the time.
Yeah, but these comments that John Cena made was like,
he's just not good. Who the fuck cares? Like, grow up.
And I'm sure that wasn't the first time he had heard it.
Yeah. So before we end the show, Omar, thank you for joining the team. We look forward to everything that you're going to bring. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
I'm excited, man. So they can always find me on Instagram or Facebook under Omi Joel Rios. The only reason it's Omi on there is so that I can find my playlist easy on Spotify. I am currently working on
5,000 Omar Rios on there, right?
There are so many, and none of us are related from what I can see.
Dude, what are you lying?
But
You're all
like
related, man.
None of
I think
us.
that's
None
true
of
for
us.
anybody. Like, could you imagine having the same name as, like, in my class, we've had like 5 Jose Rodriguez's. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Or,
they all have the same middle name or no middle name, and I'm like, okay, y'all, like, what are you gonna do?
Jose number 1, Jose number 2.
They're all in the same class, you know. It's like, okay, well,
I forgot. We found these at Publix. Check out these things.
yeah, and those things look cool. You're gonna have to tell me how that water tastes.
We don't have the box. The box is ridiculous. It says "Murder Your Thirst." It has an axe murder on the box, but it has this cool skull on the box too. And then it says they're 100% to the death of plastic. So they're doing their most to make sure that plastic. It says we donate 10% of the profits from every can sold to help kill plastic pollution. So I'm super excited. This was an awesome find at Publix. So.
Yeah,
definitely.
When a group of teenagers set off to the mountains for a weekend of drinking regular water in plastic bottles, they became hunted by an aluminum can of mountain water that was dead set on murdering their thirsts and recycling their souls.
It came with a story?
Once cracked open, no thirst is safe from liquid death. After ritually dismembering its thirst victims, this brutal can of water used the severed body parts of dead thirst to build itself a flesh suit, which it used as a disguise to get a job in marketing. But liquid death never took the job. It's just murdered a bunch more thirsts instead.
Oh, that is fantastic. That is.
See, now he's got to go and buy a can just to have it.
You guys are just giving me all the weekend plans, and I gotta go buy. What's it called again?
It's liquid death mountain water. Drinking water.
I gotta go buy Liquid Death. I gotta go check out the Necronomicon,
which is like right next door to you.
Which is right next door to me, and I gotta somehow convince Kayla that we should do all this before dinner. So,
all right. Well, thank you for.
I'm gonna tell you right now that there's no like aftertaste, no weirdness.
No.
Okay.
Tastes really good water,
and it doesn't just have that weird plastic. You know, like when you take it out of a plastic bottle.
Right. The Aquafina effect, right?
So, as we do every week, it's time to ring that bell.